It is 5:30 on the East Coast. It is 2:30 on the West Coast, which takes on a whole new meaning today. It is the 20th of August in the year of our Lord 2023, Season 5, Episode 4. I don't know why it says 40 on my run sheet. Actually, it's Season 5, Episode 10. It's right today. The Cheat Podcast is live on the air. Welcome via StreamYard, whether you are watching on Facebook Live, whether you are watching on YouTube Live, whether you are watching on Twitch Live, or replays therein, because we have that ability. We're so glad that you're with us. Welcome. Don is still on another continent through next week, so we probably will not see him until after the holiday weekend, depending on how things go. Welcome. My name is Rob. I am the executive producer of the Cheat Podcast. And it was a heck of a week. You don't realize how being in a different climate affects you until you return to your home climate. And we'll talk about that on later. I don't know. But yeah, coming back to Dallas was very odd this week.
Oh, I can understand that one.
That way. I got it right. Haha. That way. He is my co-host at an undisclosed location that may or may not be in the middle of a desert. He is Alex.
Well, yes, in the middle of a desert. However, when you land expecting relatively comparable heat to Dallas, and it is 70? Yeah. Let's just say that undisclosed location, there may be an arena behind me to the left, a replica of the Empire State Building behind me to the right, and there's a roller coaster. So we'll get through that.
You're so lucky my iPad ran out of battery and I don't have my buttons yet. Mr. 70 degrees.
Oh, no. Believe me, I am freezing.
Again, I reiterate my point. When it's 100, currently it's 108.
Oh, good. It's gotten cooler.
Oh, look what just came up. Oh, and now that I have 2% battery. All right, let's dive right into the week that was in our sport, and a week it was.
Oh, God, yes.
Holy cow. Let us start with the biggest news coming early in the week. There is no such person as Lacey Evans. Her front door mat says no one here by that name. Yep. She has now gone back to Macy Estrella. Her actual married name is Kadlec, Kadlec, but she is leaving that off if you are looking for her on social medias. Her contract has run out. I felt kind of bad for her there at the end. They were trying to shoehorn a gimmick that we all knew wouldn't work.
Yeah, well, as we've said numerous times, whenever it's the new something, whether it be gender bent or just blatant copying, it doesn't work. Now, you and I both discussed that the Southern Belle was definitely her best role.
We talked about that last week on this very show.
And I kind of appreciate what she's doing right now because it kind of leans into it with her opening her own restaurant that is very Southern themed.
And we'll get to that here in just a second. Because there's a couple of layers to this.
Yeah.
That I am a huge fan of. I didn't realize I coordinated my cup with my shirt until just now.
And your lifelong nickname, just about?
I love this cup though. Like this cup was a gift on my birthday from my brother Ken's wife. She makes these.
Oh, nice.
I wasn't sure if I told you about that. And it even says
you did not.
Backside. So yeah, she makes these. She does a great job. And this is like, listen. That is metal, sir.
That's a solid tumbler.
That is high quality work. Rock Sugar Bling, I believe is the name of her company. So
go look it up.
Yep, go do that. But as you said, she's opening a coffee shop where she lives. I thought she lived in Georgia, but apparently she lives in Beaufort, South Carolina. And the coffee shop, which is now open, apparently she has a thing for fixing up old coffee machines. I was watching on her Instagram. She just found all these old beat up coffee machines and she fixed them.
Interesting.
She's very, very handy because I've seen some of the stuff that she works on. And it's called the Sunny Summers Cafe, which is actually named after her two daughters.
Well, we have said numerous times we are a huge fan of her as a person. And South Carolina, not that surprising. the backstory that had some realism in it was her living in multiple places. But if I'm not mistaken, she met her husband in the Marine Corps, where they were both in Carolina.
I believe you are correct on that. What I really dig is one of the reasons she said that she wasn't real heartbroken. Like, she appreciated her time in WWE and what it's gained for her. But one of the things that she couldn't do when she was out on the road was to give back to her community. And part of what she's doing with this cafe, she wants to host group meetings for things like Alcoholics Anonymous and things like that, a meeting space as part of the cafe. She wants people to connect. So if you're willing to walk in there and put your cell phone in what she calls cell phone jail, you'll get a free donut.
Nice.
And she's also looking into hosting classes for women and military spouses on things like helping them achieve their goals and education and things like that.
Awesome.
So I don't care what you think of the artist formerly known as Lacey Evans. She is a quality human, and I love that she's doing what she's doing.
Absolutely.
Plain and simple. Let's see here. WrestleMania 40 has already set the company's all-time gate record. It has passed $21.5 million.
I do have a question.
39. Go ahead.
As the cynic, or typically the cynic on this, do you think that this is a Silverdome number?
I don't know yet.
Because my first reaction was them stepping on the All-In reports.
Well, let me tell you why I'm leaning towards no. Because remember how WrestleMania 32 here in our Fairburg, remember how we were like, I'd like to see the paperwork on those numbers?
Yeah.
WrestleMania 38, which we were at, by the way. Shout out, Mom and Dad. Those numbers seemed more accurate, and they were significantly lower. Yeah. So I think that they wanted to put this out there saying we've already passed the revenue from WrestleMania 39 as kind of a thing, as a counterpoint to All In. Yeah. But I don't care. The cheapest seats right now, if you still want to get some, the cheapest seats for night 1 is $600 a pop, and night 2 is $500 a pop, which I found interesting and maybe a little telling.
Well, the question is, are they the same seats at different rates, or is it because night 2 you have to sit further back?
Maybe. That's very possible.
Because what I was thinking would be is, like we had said, yes, you can make any of the majors 2 nights, but that second night is going to be your main event because you close with the biggest story. So at that same concept, it's probably the fact that more people are unfortunately having to decide one night or the other and choosing night 2.
But I saw a tweet from Bully Ray. I saw it today. I don't know when it actually posted, and I don't care what you call it. It's still a tweet. I don't care.
If I may on that one,
please.
As long as it's still twitter.com, it's a tweet.
That's fair. But he actually gave kudos to both WWE for Mania and AEW for All In as a side-by-side. Congratulations to both companies for having great showings.
Yeah.
So I like that, because I just
enjoy wrestling.
Exactly. Like, you can be a fan either or, neither, both. It's fine. But when people are posting pictures like, oh, look how empty this arena is, and it's like, well, maybe you need a little bit of context around it, where maybe that was like the end of the night or the beginning of the night. Like,
and we know that there's a lot of recording that goes on, so dear God, is it
especially if you're going to an AEW show, because then we're going to get to that here in just a little while.
And a quick addendum in that, the only people that are doing the us versus them are fans. None of you are in the business. Nope. None of you are in those companies, so shut it.
As we get
right over here. Right there. Come get it.
As we get into the week of programming, I want to say a little bit about what your situation you're currently dealing with. And I say this in all sincerity because I've never experienced this until 3 days ago.
Okay.
Given the severe weather differences between where you are and where I'm are, and then last week where I'm are and you were, grab a couple of bottles of water when you get off the plane, because I got
100%.
back from Pittsburgh Thursday afternoon, all day Friday. Because when I was in Pittsburgh, the highest I think it ever got was like 86. Like, it was gorgeous. It was a little rainy. It was a little overcast. It was a little humid, but nothing that I couldn't deal with.
I'd still say Pittsburgh is one of the most underrated cities in this hemisphere.
I'm supposed to be going back in November.
Nice.
This meeting I did, they're going to be doing quarterly now. So I'm very excited about that. But I didn't realize how badly it was going to hit me. Almost all day Friday, I was having dizzy spells. I'm not exaggerating. So I don't know. I don't care if you grab a couple of bottles before you get on the plane or after you get off the plane, but overhydrate when you get back. I cannot stress this enough. It's bad.
Oh, I'm not ashamed to admit it. You've seen me have to deal with that barefoot. What was it? 3 miles from my house.
Yeah.
Not knowing where I was.
Yeah. So please, for the love of God.
Yes.
Before you exit the building at DFW, because you will feel it when you get off the plane, I don't care if it costs you $9 a bottle. Grab a couple extra bottles of water, especially if they're cold, before you get outside, because I'm telling you, all day Friday I was having dizzy spells, and my wife was like, have 19 more bottles of water, because that's what it is. That being said, I had to watch everything in Pittsburgh because my schedule was so tight. I was watching everything in real time, and I don't know how you people do it. I have no idea. This is an abomination of society, especially if you live on the East Coast. For the love of God, my heart goes out to you people in the Eastern time zone, because Raw don't start till 8 o'clock. Speaking of which, Roman Reigns has now passed 500 days as WWE champion.
Yeah, and that's just the one belt.
Correct.
The second one.
Correct. Because remember, we had the 1,000-day thing a few weeks ago. That first hour took forever.
Oh, especially when they were like, we're going to be commercial free. And in your mind, you're like, that's cool. And then your body starts going, why?
Oh, was it commercial free?
That's what they said at the top of the show.
I didn't think it. I thought 2 weeks ago it was. I didn't think it was this week.
They said it this week too.
Oh, maybe that's what was killing me so bad.
Yeah, because there was no breaks. There's nothing baked in to skip.
Just like this is horrible. I can't do this. I almost just like, to hell with it. I'll just watch it on lunch on my phone on YouTube TV tomorrow. Like, that's how bad it was.
Nice plug.
And I mean Monday night, Tuesday night, and Wednesday night. So you're talking Raw, NXT, and Dynamite. At least Dynamite felt a little better paced.
They do a good job, 99%.
8 to 11 versus 7 to 10 are two completely different sports. That 1 hour, I don't care who you are, especially now that I'm getting older. That 1 hour it's insane. It shouldn't make that much difference, but dear God, it does.
Now, and there's also a thing if you go in the way back, and it's one of the things that we have harped on that was the smartest thing during the Monday Night Wars that WCW did, was they kind of blocked off that first hour for cruiserweights, and they would even change announcers so that it felt like a clean separation, like you weren't just being overwhelmed the entire time.
Which Dynamite did for like a day and a half.
Yes. Well, we know
Collision.
why they stopped that.
And they kind of do with Collision.
Yeah.
A little bit. Is Rhea just embracing her inner Joan Jett at this point?
See, you take it Joan Jett. All I see is Joey Ramone.
Oh. Maybe she wants to be sedated. We don't know.
Thanks for picking up that joke.
Are we at the point now where they're just piping in the booze for Dom? Because it seems,
I feel like it
seems
is.
like it's getting a little overkill. Like, I love it, and I love how he's reacting to it. And we've said on this show multiple times, he is evolving as a character, but it seems like we're piping them in at this point. It seemed excessive on Monday.
Well, and now that we're no longer showing the crowd booing, whenever we don't see it, there's always a little bit of me that goes, I know what you're doing.
And as I texted you Monday night, I am not afraid. I am not above correction when done properly. I sit corrected. I read the headline wrong. Gunther has not abolished the hunkimeter yet.
Correct.
We're close. We got like another week and a half. We're close.
Yeah, it was, what was it, 21 days as of Monday, something like that?
I think it was, I think we were inside 2 weeks as Raw was on the air.
Okay.
But I screwed it up last week, so Lord knows I probably screw it up again. I don't know.
But at the same time, you remember my reply in text was, when's the last time Gunther was a focal point of a segment and was the worst part?
Yeah, which he was on Monday night.
But that's still not terrible, because that Kaiser was just electric. That was brilliantly done.
So lemons still being turned into lemonade dish. That match was bad.
Well,
and then a double.
Now we're feeding the merch as well.
And then a double DQ.
Well,
and now the cage match. And now, well, it's still a disqualification. A count out is a disqualification, even though they do separate.
Okay, we're going to do semantics right now.
I'm just saying. Like, there was no need for correction on that because it's the same thing.
Well, no, they made a point of the count out because they were further away that then got Zoe Stark involved.
But the cage match will now take place.
Let me try this. When's the last time Trish had a good match?
With Lita?
Was it in this decade?
No, it was not.
Well, was it in the last decade?
This decade's not even halfway over. Maybe in
the last. Okay, let me rephrase that.
In
the last 10 years.
Okay, that's different.
No, that's why I'm adjusting.
I would say it was in the aughts somewhere.
Yeah, but that's still 15 years ago.
And I've never liked the whole mask thing. I've never been a fan.
When it's done right, it's really good.
Cody Rhodes at the best.
That's what I was going to say.
But the cage match will take place at Payback. They announced
allegedly. We were told the match was going to happen at SummerSlam too, so let's book on the fly.
I feel like you can't bump that twice. Because if they do, the internet will explode. But hey, get your money.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, I just saw my I don't want to say her name because then she activates.
Yeah.
My little screen that sits next to my laptop in my office was the infamous Ring of Honor night.
Ah. Yeah, that was a time.
Secrets are fun. I did giggle when Finn was apologizing to the ref and he was doing the sign of the cross.
Yes. Do it old school, like no. Good.
And he wasn't even saying like I didn't do it, I swear. He was just doing it to do it. Like I was trying to read his lips, like he's just doing it to do it, and that's fun.
I thought he was because spoiler alert, his default language at home is Spanish because of his wife.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was doing it Espíritu Santo, and I thought he was doing it in Spanish.
And all I'm saying is McDonough, Dragunov, do it. Do it.
Let's go.
Let those two just steal a card. It's okay.
I mean, I have the new rule we refer to as the Adam Cole rule off air.
Mm-hmm.
If these guys were 6 feet tall, they'd already be world champions.
Well, one of them has been.
UK.
But that counts because that was the top belt in that promotion.
Okay, since this is the semantic episode. A world champion for a major brand.
I will give you that one because it has the letters NXT attached to it, which I still don't agree with.
No, it absolutely best belt they had, and it feels bad to say had.
I don't like NXT not being recognized as a third brand. I don't.
Well,
if it was on Peacock strictly,
yeah,
I could kind of, because that's how it was when it was on WWE Network. Mm-hmm. To me, it was not the third brand because it wasn't on major television, but you could still watch it and it was developmental. But it's on national television now and has been for a long time. And at a point, it was recognized properly when we had the logistical problems of them getting out of Saudi, and you had the invasion on SmackDown, which is still one of some of the best booking I've seen in years. And then Vince came back and was like, yeah, just do a thing.
But your other big problem is that anytime NXT has been really good, it gets wiped because they get moved to SmackDown or Raw. And right now, I mean, I've seen kiddie pools that are like 12 times as deep as the talent pool is right now.
They're overworking their upper echelon talent because there is no the bench has no depth.
Yeah, there's no middle talent because everybody is either bottom tier or top tier.
One quick NWA note: Camille has now reached 800 days as champion.
Deservedly so.
So, NXT, what are we doing with Mustafa Ali?
Giving him something to do on Tuesdays? I mean, you could arguably say the same thing about Corbin right now, but he's,
I did like Corbin did a very interesting interview this week.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know if he hinted this on purpose or if he was just spitballing. Did you read this?
I did not.
So Corbin was asked, like, what's the road look like right now? And Corbin said, as soon as I get the call, I'm 100% ready. I'm 100% ready to do whatever they need me to do. Always have been, always will be. However, being over here at NXT, if I come back up, I think I'm bringing some guys with me. So maybe Baron forms a stable. I'm kind of here for it. Now, granted, the people he listed are people that are going to wind up in other stables anyway. But I would like to see this.
I think what's going to happen is that Corbin will be the lieutenant of the stable. And the leader of that stable will be Karrion Kross. Because we can talk about more of that when we get to SmackDown, because there was that tease as well. Now,
but I'm interested.
I here's the fun part. I have long been the Corbin defender in this scope as well, because he plays to exactly the level he's working with. Unfortunately, sometimes that level was Jinder Mahal, which also didn't get the respect it deserved. But when you have two big, I'm trying to think of a more polite word, because they're not unathletic, but they kind of move like old school giant wrestling a little bit at times.
Little lunky.
Lunky. There, that's the word we're going for.
Okay.
But at the same time, I feel like Baron Corbin, every time I see him, is becoming more and more one of my favorite people with the company. Whether it be some of the charitable stuff he does, whether it be his cooking videos, or the fact that 100% he's everybody's buddy backstage.
His interactions with McAfee.
Yes. Because they're bros.
I do want, you mentioned Jinder Mahal, and I'm going to jump ahead and just cover this now because there's no reason to do it during that segment. First of all, is that his real name?
I don't believe it is, no.
Let me look this up, because so if it's not his real name,
I would bet significant money that it isn't, because I feel like I've looked up his
real name is Yuvraj Singh Desi, Dhesi.
Mm-hmm.
Let me look in here. Yeah, because he was in a promo, and it was an old promo for Reality of Wrestling. And I mean, it was old, and they played it twice. And I can tell you why I know it's old. And forgive me for referring to it this way because of this. Piper's in it. But at one point, Jinder Mahal is talking about Reality of Wrestling, but they spelled his last name Muhal. And I'm wondering,
Booker was typing it.
Well, because I'm looking at the names he's used, and that spelling is not used on the Wikipedia.
It distinctly feels like something where Booker was, 2 bowls in and just typing what he heard.
So, yeah. I was just wondering if you knew anything about that, because that caught me off.
No, I did not. But the interesting thing about it is I know he's Canadian.
Yes, he is. He was born in Calgary.
Yep.
He is 37 years old. Oh, his birthday is 17 days after mine.
Okay, so it's July.
6'5", 238. So Gama Singh was one of the people that trained him. God, he debuted in 2004.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Well, remember the crazy factoid we had a while back when we had the NXT title tournament. The first NXT title tournament came down to Seth Rollins and Jinder Mahal.
Oh, still being hindered.
Yeah.
Let's see here. NXT universe, you were so close. You were so close. Tyler Bate comes to the ring, and there was an attempt at a big strong boy chant, but no singing.
An attempt, yeah.
But
Well,
no singing.
but the problem is the NXT universe has jumped the shark so many times over. They now try to get themselves over more than anything else. And I feel like, yes, you want that place filled, but I feel like there should be a quota. Like, sir, you've been here the last 87 times in a row and you just chant for yourself. Let's move on.
You know, the next time they come to town, if we're there, we are going to start the song
100%.
because that man deserves his song
Damn right.
on a Seth Rollins level. I believe.
You mean an acapella unending?
Yes. And is Nathan Fraser supposed to be John Oliver? Is that what we're doing?
The only thing I can think of, because something else came to light to me this week.
Please do.
I think they're trying to make Nathan Fraser more himself. Because during a interview is giving it too much credit, a brief back and forth, Thea Hale referred to him as a very funny guy, which is why she fell for him.
This is new information. What?
It's been a year.
Nathan Fraser,
and
Thea Hale. Huh.
Yeah.
That is new information.
That's going to be, if that continues on, that's going to be a really talented family.
Yeah.
And they're each going to have their own little heritage cups.
Oh, there's also another Nathan Fraser that is an Irish Association football player.
Well, it's probably like a John Smith over there. Let's be honest.
He was once CJ Storm. Okay.
I miss his Bulldog-inspired gear that he used in AEW, though.
Real name, Benjamin Timms. Some call him Tim. But, yeah, it was weird because it's like, I think they're trying to do a John Oliver thing here, but I don't know. Anything else you've got in NXT before we keep it moving?
No, NXT continues to be like almost like they have something and then they do other stuff. I mean, but speaking of the transition from that to Thea Hale, I'm going to be very curious to see what this payoff is with. She's pissed. I love her. She's brilliant. And she's light years ahead of where somebody her age should be. I mean,
I will say kudos to Wesley for not destroying both of his ankles jumping on that cut table.
Oh,
I was like, bro, I hope you practice that like a bunch in a harness, like hung from the ceiling, because my ankles hurt watching that.
He has a crash test dummy body and a slinky spine.
Because I think I even saw Carmelo Hayes go, ooh.
Yeah. Those are always the fun ones because it became somewhat okay to get caught doing that after Randy tossed a Bollywood boy just a little too high and got caught on camera just,
Hunter the Battle Cat has arrived. He's hanging out. As we move into AEW Dynamite, we acknowledge the Cash Wheeler situation. We are watching for as the facts unfold. As much as this is an opinion show, we do not put ourselves in legal entanglements. All you need to know right now is they did not ask him to surrender his passport, so he will be able to travel to All In.
Yeah.
That's all I'm willing to say at this point.
Yeah, and if you would like people to go more in depth into it, you have the internet. Find attorneys, not just Facebook.
Yes. Grand Slam was announced for September 20th.
I appreciate that that's become a regular show. I dig the concept. I like the execution.
And it's a great facility.
Absolutely.
And Thunder Rosa will be doing Spanish commentary for All In. They did announce that.
Yeah. Apparently she has another match coming up that's going to be, in her words, very short, but they're going to see how her body reacts to it as to whether or not she'll get cleared.
As far as this show and how we handle All In, Alex and I have not made an official decision yet. Don will be there.
Yeah.
So he's kind of not a factor on this one, but Alex and I just
he's our on-site correspondent,
right,
regardless of what we do.
But Alex and I haven't had that discussion. We'll probably have that discussion in the pre-show for the other show. The plan that we were looking into may or may not happen. So, and I think it's just because it's on so early in the day.
Also true.
Because I'm not seeing other places that we would normally look at that would carry such things, announcing such things. Now, All Out might be a different story, but All In, starting at 10 a.m. Eastern, it's going to get a little wonky. But
now, we did have a bit of a report from Don earlier today on that one. They have confirmed opening the doors at 3:30, which is roughly 8:30 here, 8:30 or 9:30 in the morning.
So an hour and a half before 0 hour.
Yes.
So 1.5 hours.
So we will probably be getting some pictures, some information well before they ever hit air.
Yep. So keep your eye on our social media for that. Don is having a great time on his vacation. So we're very, very happy that he and Faith are having an amazing time. So,
all 3 months of that vacation.
Yeah. Let's see here. Did a straight cold open. I found that to be interesting. The only notes I have from that entire show are the failed bit match.
Now, to clarify which show you're referring to,
Dynamite.
Yeah. And they did have a belt, but they...
Oh, Alex just froze up on me. We're going
to do whatever.
Oh, hold on. You froze up on me there for a second. Your video's still frozen. You're back now.
Okay. Now, they did have a belt. They did something.
I feel like that belt was like an afterthought. Because
I feel like all of it was an afterthought.
When I saw
That's
that,
why I'm saying...
I felt like Jarrett screwed up the promo and they were like, well, then let's just make a belt.
It looks like one of those cheap ones you get on Wish, for sure.
There are at least 2 belts on the other side of this camera that look better than that one.
Yeah, but those are great belts.
And did we learn nothing from Seth versus The Fiend at Hell in a Cell?
I'm not 100% sure how to answer that because... Yeah, we didn't learn anything.
Because I saw that and I'm like, did you guys not watch the interview where Seth was like, this was a nightmare when it was bathed all in red light?
Yeah.
I watched that whole match and I was like, this might have worked in the Vince Russo WCW era, maybe.
Nope. Didn't work then. It wouldn't have worked then either.
Like, I felt like the botch spot with Kevin Nash not standing in the right part of the ring to get the fake blood dumped on him, like that worked better.
Well, yeah, it worked better. If this should have gone one of 2 ways: straight up death match, or just literally play the Benny Hill sax and make it a comedy spot.
It should have been full on cinematic, is what it should have been.
That would require them to send a camera crew and pay extra money, and they weren't putting any extra into that match.
Right, but what I'm saying is, like, last time they did a match at the Hardy compound, that was at least entertaining. The last 2 they've done there were at least entertaining. This was a unmitigated mess.
But I still want to clarify. They're trying to do things differently. I appreciate that they're trying to do something unique, something special, and sometimes it just doesn't work. But
and the $100,000 in sponsorship did go to the Maui Food Bank, so we do have to recognize that.
Absolutely.
Just like this week's Fight for the Fallen, all that money goes to the Maui Food Bank. So we do have to recognize that there was some good that came out of this, but visually there was not.
Yeah, it was in the press. It wasn't in the show. But what I was going to say was, in that same vein, something that should not have worked, that became one of our favorite things a few years ago, was then announced not long after it with a Stadium Stampede match for All.
But are they going to do it at Soldier Field?
I don't know. That's the best part. We're going to find out together.
You know what? Let me do something. Let me do a little experiment here, because this will tell us, I think, everything we need to know.
Oh no.
Because it's at the all ins at the United, or all outs at the United Center, right?
Right, which is not actually in Chicago.
Right. Well, it's listed as Chicago, West Madison Street.
Maybe I'm thinking of the other one that's in Rosefield.
At the Rosemont, the Rosemont Horizon.
Rosemont. Yeah.
One moment while I'm looking this up.
You want to see how far away that stadium is.
There are 6.5 miles between the United Center and Soldier Field.
Okay, so are we going to get a stadium stampede and a car chase?
I want that.
Wait.
I want Laugh Olympic.
Remember Sammy getting hit by not the golf cart. It was something a little bit more. I forget what they call it. The gator.
Mm-hmm.
You'll have a gator chase from the stadium.
It's an 11-minute drive right now. And most of it is highway driving. Almost all of it's highway driving.
Yeah, no, I just realized why we wouldn't do that. The thing we mentioned before about we're not going to talk about legal matters.
So yeah, I still think it should be at Soldier Field, though.
I agree.
It'll be ready for NFL season. It'll be ready for NFL season.
But even if it's not, there are multiple venues in Chicago that can be used.
Yeah.
Like, let's try this. How far is Comiskey?
Did they still call it that?
No, they call it U.S. Cellular.
Well, Comiskey Park, South Shields Avenue. It's a little bit further. That's
okay.
Actually, no, it's a little closer by about a mile.
And then the question is whether or not the White Sox are in town and who's going to knock out Tim Anderson.
Yeah, it's now Guaranteed Rate Field.
Ugh.
Now, Wrigley Field.
No, that would not happen. No way that would happen.
It's about the same distance. Wrigley's about the same distance.
Okay, but what I was saying is they would not get in that stadium. They might fight on the street behind left field and wind up in the bleachers.
Maybe CM Punk calls in a favor. You don't know.
You mean the Golden Vampire?
That was awesome. But I knew as soon as I saw him, I'm like, that's Punk. He didn't even use his body language.
No, my response was Conquistador?
Let's see here. New Japan said Sonata will defend his title versus Evil at Destruction in Ryogoku.
Mm-hmm.
I hope I said that right.
Yes, you did.
All right. Also on that card, David Finlay will defend the never openweight title versus Tama Tonga. That will be fun.
Finlay has been disappointing me. Since he took over as the leader for Bullet Club, I've just been kind of going, I don't buy it. There's literally better people in the faction right now. Like, Gabriel Kidd is running with that bit. The Rabid War Dog is awesome.
It's perfect segue because Bullet Club War Dogs will also defend the strong openweight tag team titles versus El Phantasmo and Hikuleo.
That'll be fun.
And I love those Bullet Club.
Sure you don't want to sing that one a little bit?
Yeah.
I like it.
But I like the Bullet Club War Dogs t-shirts. Those look awesome. Big fan. Road to Destruction for New Japan will be September 10th. Have you seen this match this best of 7 series that they've announced?
I did not.
Team Strong Style, Ren Narita, Minoru Suzuki, and El Dorado versus Team Nagata of Yuji Nagata, Shota Umino.
Do you mean Desperado?
The thing I read said El Dorado, but it might be. I don't know.
Okay.
Versus Team Nagata, which would be Yuji Nagata, Shota Umino, and Master Wato.
Well, that'll be fun.
Best of 7. And it kicks off at Road to Destruction September the 10th.
You know, I've always wanted them to do something like they do the G1, they do the World Tag League, they do all of those where there are those tournaments that are brilliant just from a booking and setup standpoint. But I always kind of wanted to get a faction. Throwing out a number, say 5 on either side. Make it like Survivor Series. you do the best of 7. You have individual matches, you have tag matches, you have trios matches, and if it gets to 7, you do Survivor Series elimination style match. And that's how you determine, I don't know,
And
who gets title shots.
You can't recycle personnel until everybody's been in a match.
100%. We have a t-shirt for this, don't we?
We should at prowrestlingtees.com. Book in the checkbook. Check it out. Pick one up. Buy shirts, buy shirts, buy shirts. I haven't done that in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Impact Wrestling Multiverse United 2 is tonight. It is pay-per-view, so I will not be purchasing it. Although Emergence is Impact Plus.
There's a win.
Steve Macklin says he is cleared.
Yes. Happy that that's happening.
Deanna also very happy. She was saying all kinds of wonderful things on Twitter because, legally bound.
Well, they're also an adorable couple, and it makes me nauseous.
We've also mentioned Sonata and Emergence. Sonata will be at Emergence, not for the IWGP World Heavyweight title, but he will take on Jake something.
That should be a fun match.
Who looks more and more like Hercules Hernandez every time I see him.
Needs a little bit curlier hair that's shorter, but yeah, goes that.
Only a couple of notes. They did picture-in-picture, apparently. So now they're doing
it. Doesn't now.
I watch it on the app, so there's no commercials because I can't get Access TV. So, and internet, hear me.
Oh, here we go.
I say this in all sincerity. I say this in all seriousness. Just give Joe Hendry whatever he wants. Did you watch that segment?
I have not.
He and Yuya have decided to be a tag team and go after the tag team titles. And there was, okay, remember the video for Easy Lover with Philip Bailey and Phil Collins?
Okay.
There are many similarities to the way those two interacted in that video and the way Yuya and Joe Hendry interacted in that segment. And I am fully here for it.
See, I knew about
all in.
I knew about part of this because I found it hilarious when our worlds were colliding because we believe in Joe Hendry.
We do.
And we went absolute mad cheering on Yuya Uemura at Bloodsport, at New Japan Strong tapings. That dude has talent. And this collision of unexpected is just breathtakingly awesome.
It's one of those things like these two awesome things together shouldn't be making each other more awesomer, and they are. Because as much as Joe Hendry sells the Joe Hendry bit, Yuya's just going, hold my beer. And this shouldn't be as entertaining as it is by a country mile. I'm just saying.
But I love it.
God almighty. Ring of Honor 214 this week, sir.
We know where it's going.
214.
We know where it's going.
No commercials.
Mm-hmm.
That's a 3-hour show and change. And I tried to watch it when I got home, but I got home too late. So I was like 5 minutes late. And so I'm like, all right, let's just go. And then when you watch it live, you don't know how long it is because it doesn't have the little meter thing. But I can hit my one button that shows me what their schedule is.
Mm-hmm.
And it went 8, and it said 8:14. And I was like, they're taking a break, right? Like they're going to do like promos for stuff. Nope. 2 hours and 14 minutes of this show.
Different question for you.
Mm-hmm.
I love how they've been showcasing the tag titles. I love how they've been showcasing the TV title. What?
Have they?
On AEW programming, yes.
Okay, not on their own.
No. I'm saying showcasing it on AEW.
Okay.
Where it's on TV. Same with the TV title when Joe shows up. When is the last time you saw the world title in anything that mattered?
This week on Dynamite. Or Dynamite or Rampage, because Claudio Castagnoli did a whole promo on it.
But who do you see taking the belt off of him and essentially being the guy for Ring of Honor?
That's my guess.
You don't know? I kind of feel like we're getting ready to set up Eddie as... So if Dynamite is the Elite show, and Collision is the Punk show, and Rampage is the Barry Horowitz show, I think Ring of Honor, when they have something, is going to be Eddie Kingston.
I want to see Eddie as a champion outside of what he's just done, because we on this show do love Eddie Kingston.
Mm-hmm.
We make no bones about it. I don't know how I feel. I mean,
the problem is he's so much better as a mouthpiece than he is as a wrestler. And I don't care what anybody says, the back fist of the future is dumb.
And I will say this, put that belt back on Taven.
I can see that.
Taven was a heck of a world champion for Ring of Honor.
What about Castle?
Castle's, he's transcended any belt to me at this point.
He's in the Jake Roberts category. He doesn't need it.
Let him go out there and just do what he does, because he puts, when he shows up on your TV, you're going to have a fun match to watch, regardless of who he's up against.
True.
And I think
even if it's as Ashley Remington.
Well, and that's fine, because he is smooth sailing.
Mm-hmm.
And he needs to come out to Michael McDonald. But hey, there's Russ. How you doing, brother?
Tony Khan, cut the check.
I would love for that. Just oh, I would lose my mind.
Well, and I will say I loved his Ring of Honor theme song that they can no longer use.
Oh my god, I would love it. I love Michael McDonald. Man. Oh, by the way, for the Renegade Twins, she's no longer Charlotte. She's now Charlotte. That's what we're doing. Adjust your roster accordingly. We have a Madison Rain sighting. I don't know how I feel about the backwards hat, because it's that velvet, it's that like satiny hat with the bejewels on. It just looks weird.
It feels like she watched one thing of NXT and saw Cora Jade and went, "Ooh, I could do something like that."
Interested to see where that's going to.
I know what that's going to.
We also have a Griff Garrison sighting. He was on there.
He's another one of those guys. Throw him under a mask. Make him Luchasaurus's little brother.
Luchasaurito.
No. Just give Christian his dinosaurs of destruction.
Lesosaurus?
What's that?
Lesosaurus?
Librosaurus?
Because if we have Godzuki.
Oh, no.
He could be Lesosaurus. And Ring of
Next
Honor.
thing you know, Griff Garrison comes out as Mothra.
Ring of Honor, help me out here. They're trios or they're 6-man. Stick with terminology. Unless this is how we're differentiating AEW talent from ROH talent. If it's 3 guys from AEW, they're a trio. If it's 3 guys from Ring of Honor, then it's 6-man. Is that what we're doing?
That would be a good way to differentiate it, but I also kind of feel like we're at critical mass with belts, in my opinion.
But they, especially from a Ring of Honor standpoint, they're not
doing anything.
I appreciate what they're doing with 0 Hour. I don't care. Like, this is how you're going to drive traffic, because you're putting Better Than You Baby on 0 Hour. Like,
True.
It's smart booking. I just don't care.
And I love Aussie Open.
Oh, I'm a big fan.
Yeah. Although I am concerned about the Empire right now. If we're throwing Will Ospreay in with the Callis family, what does that mean? Or is he just the hired gun? Which, dear God, I need them to say that, please. Please say that. I don't want him in the United Empire going anywhere.
Yeah, I like the United. We saw a great bit with them at the Strong tapings. God, that was almost a year ago.
I thought it was longer.
No, it was last year, because it was like the intro to fall.
It's true.
I think it was like last September, I think is when it was.
I don't know. All I remember was that I was row E.
You are row E, Alec. And we say that because literally, if you went all the way around the Coldwell Center, there was maybe 3 other people in that row all the way around. Well,
yeah, on the opposite
way around, because they cut off a third of the arena.
That's also true. I think they cut off 2/3, to be honest.
And I feel like Layla Hirsch is using somebody else's music, but I can't place it.
I haven't heard it, so the one that she did use for a moment that I recognized sounded an awful lot like Rusev's original theme.
No, this is different. This is a little.
No, I'm talking about in the company.
No, you're right. I understand what you're saying, but I'm saying the one she's using, it's a little more hip hoppy, if you will.
I'll have to check it out.
Speaking of things, I did download a couple of ringtones, or not ringtones, but themes that I didn't have before. Dun, dun, ding, dun, dun, ding. Your girl. I can't do the rest of it because EO Sky.
Yeah.
And the other one, if you ask me if I downloaded a theme, I would say, yeah. It took me a minute to find it because you can't put the abbreviation points after the L and the A. So it's got to look like La Night.
But the number of edits using the and the theme song and creating its own thing, I have been enjoying so very, very much. Thank you, creative people on social media.
The only note I have from Rampage is that apparently the righteous are crossing over.
Sure.
I like Vinny. I don't like this bit.
Yeah. What I really would need for them, and we never got it to the extent I wanted. I want the Kingdom demolishing the righteous. I am done with that. Let Vinny be the horror. What was it? The Horror King? Was it?
No, the horror was in it, but it wasn't Horror King. I know what you're saying. When he first came to the righteous, he still worked.
He did. That was
when he
so
first came to the Kingdom, he worked that bit. And then when he left the Kingdom, then he flipped the script and became Charles Manson.
Yeah. But let him do that. He does that infinitely better.
So for those of you that did watch SmackDown and knew what happened there, Edge's contract is allegedly up at the end of September.
Yes, but this was the last match he was obligated for.
And hear me, Internet. Hear me. I will give Alex $5 because that's the maximum risk I'm putting on this particular statement. I will give Alex $5 if Edge shows up on AEW programming. Stop it. It ain't going to happen. Leave it alone.
It could happen, but it could be a one-off. Just because of how tight he is with Christian forever.
As the wise man once said, and monkeys might fly out of my butt.
Also true. But at the same time, calling for it does nothing but fill the feed with trash.
And the $5 only happens if it's more than a one-off, because a one-off doesn't count.
No.
That's like saying Bret Hart's All Elite. He showed up one day with a belt. That don't count.
True. But the other thing we have with this is, did you happen to watch the promo off air afterwards?
I have not yet.
So to give you the brief on it was obviously thanking the crowd, acknowledging that he doesn't think he'll be around long enough to be back in Toronto to wrestle again. But the biggest thing is that at his age and having busted his butt on cardio and still feeling like he's struggling to get through a normal match is the biggest determining factor of why he thinks he may actually be done, but at least he's done on his terms this time.
And I don't care that they
respect to the Maple Leafs gear.
Oh, I loved it. And I love
you notice the patch. I couldn't get a good sight line of it, but one of the patches had Brody.
Oh, okay.
Who was a huge Maple Leafs fan.
Oh, yeah. And I love the t-shirts they made for that, too. I have the Dallas one. I don't care that they recycled his Hall of Fame video. That one never gets old, ever. No. Then they added stuff to the end of it, but his Hall of Fame video is one of the best they've ever done.
Agreed.
I'm here for it. AEW Collision, good work by Dalton Castle. He was in the opening match.
Always.
And one of Alex's pet peeves in a match is when a guy is at the pinfall and you can see he's watching.
Oh, when they get obvious and start craning their neck around looking for them.
Did you notice the pivot that Dalton Castle did?
Remind me.
Because it was the pinfall.
Yes.
he saw the camera on him with his eyes open. So what he did is he acted like his eyes are open because he was reaching for the ropes. And I'm like, that's a solid pivot, and I will count it.
Always good with it. If you give it any other reason besides you staring at the ref, good with it.
And is Roosh now Santos Escobar from like 3 years ago?
Roosh is just whatever Roosh wants to be at any given time. Great in ring, but that's kind of it. Like, I respectfully, because huge fan of LFI, huge fan of the family. I feel like Roosh is the lesser brother in that family. Like, he does less work, and he does less character work, and he does less, I don't know, entertaining besides being Mexican Goldberg.
But they did the whole thing with them putting the covering them with the dark masks and throwing them in the van. And I did watch Reality of Wrestling. This was the final episode from their Summer of Champions show last month. And for those of you wondering, they did not screw up the name of the town. Although there is an H in it, the H is silent, and it is Humble, Texas. So I want to clear that up. Did you know who their senior official is?
At Reality of Wrestling, I do not.
It is one Nick Patrick.
Is he running heel?
He did at the end of that cage match where he took off his referee shirt, and apparently Booker has a stable called the Heat because last year at this show, he was stripped of his power. And so he formed this stable, and the current champion is in his stable. And so Nick Patrick fast counted and pulled off his referee shirt and it had a Heat shirt under it. And to Eric Lockhart, who was in a 4-way ladder match for their TV title, if you're going to use the EKG noise in your intro, when it goes flatline, your video should too. His video just kept doing this.
They kept doing the bumps, yeah.
I'm like, bro, come on. Not much going on WoW. For some reason, WoW is burying itself in my recording, so I have to go look for it.
Odd.
Because I was like, why didn't I get an episode last week? Because usually on YouTube TV, it will show up. You have one from 16 hours ago. And I thought maybe they're taking the break before they start the new season. And I went to the app and I'm like, no, it's right there. So when I was on my Xbox, I had to tweak around a little bit to find it, but I found it. MLW news as we're getting close to time here. Fury Road has added Jacob Fatu versus Ricky Shane Page in a weapons of mass destruction match for the national openweight title.
Jacob Fatu, and with all due respect to our boy Hammerstone, Fatu is the best thing going in that company, and he has been for a long time. He fits anywhere he wants. He adapts very well and always has entertaining matches.
And they are returning to New York at the Melrose Ballroom for something they're calling One Shot, which I believe is in November.
Okay.
So, anything else? We got a couple of minutes left before we take the break.
No, we're kind of in that dead zone where there's not really much going on. There's the lull before All In, which we're really looking forward to. Then following it up with All Out, having the holiday, gonna put everything back, and then we're on a steady decline to Survivor Series. But dear God, I need to see something starting to take shape for War Games.
Yeah. Hopefully we get past Payback. We'll start to set those seeds because now, from what I'm hearing, the Bloodline not scheduled for Payback.
Well, when has Payback ever really been worthwhile? I mean, I feel like there was one noteworthy one like 15 years ago.
It was our first ever deconstruction.
But no, that was Backlash, I thought.
Well, it's the same weekend, whatever that was in that time slot.
Yeah. But Payback as a show itself has always been an also ran.
Yeah, it's always been a run back of the major before it.
Yeah. It's here's the thing, move on. So hopefully we'll get into that. We'll actually be able to maybe we'll even get something for October in our city where we'll get to see Mr. Regal and get to hear it live.
We're hoping.
Putting that out there.
All right. Make sure you're following us on all your social medias, whether it's Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all the things, the Cheap Popcast. Make sure you follow us on all of that so you can keep up with us. You can follow me on all of your social medias if you would like. Everything is Yes That Rob Urban. That is spelled ERVIN. It's over there. Also, the official fact checker for the show is Don Ford. He'll be back in a couple of weeks. You can find him at Igbunu on Twitter. That's IGBUNUUU.
I am Vexblade on all social media. Thanks for joining us. And if you'd like to help out the show, please go to prowrestlingtees.com/thecheapopcast. You'll find that logo. We got a lot of different shirts and a lot of different designs within the color variations. If you have any contributions or suggestions that you have, you can reach out to me at alex@theclubhousepodcast.com.
Charlotte Marshall is on Pinterest because we're morally obligated to send. She actually texted me a little while and see what's going on there. Our normal show Sunday nights at 5:30 Eastern is your one-stop shop for all things professional wrestling. Coming up at the top of the hour, it will be the Clubhouse Podcast in a very special episode. So until next time, for Alex, for Don, for the Empire, I'm Rob. This has been the Cheap Popcast. Good night, everybody. This video.